Yo, Miles, what's happening over there on the other side of the pond?
What? It's Friday already?
No, can't be Friday already.
I just logged off from doing last week's show.
Yeah,
Where have I been?
right. The show that you barely survived. We're
Yeah.
happy that you're safe and happy and healthy.
And I'm ready to do it all again, Brian.
Ready to do
Just
it all again. Listen,
not getting burnt out.
Miles, I hate to start the show on like on a down note or anything like this, but I feel like I just got to get off my chest before we get this thing started.
Do it.
You know, like, my screen name is Brian Paul. Loves you all. I tell people at the end of breaking news reports that I'm Brian Paul and I love you all, and then I go out on Twitter and it's just a cesspool of hate. And like, dude, if you really want to embody what it means to be a game cat, I just implore you all to always leave the internet in a slightly better place than you found it. It is such a hard thing, I think, to go online and just see all the negativity and hatred. It's like we all have different opinions on things. It's like, but just really, really, I mean, try to spread a little love, man, because it's exhausting, and I don't know how most people are getting through it. So do your best, man. That's all I ask people today. We'll do this show and we'll have some fun. And in return, that's all I ask. What do you think?
Nah, I think screw you, Brian. Screw you. No, no.
And I think we, on that note, we should start the show. This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and thank God it's Too Wise Friday right here on on PSVR without Parole. 6 p.m. Eastern. That is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We do it live. We do it live because we care. And also, editing is a bitch. We don't want to do that. So that's why we do it live. But you know, we just like to hang out with you cats. Like to be here and have fun and get together 3 times a week. I'm just spouting out random words at this point. My name is Brian Paul from PSVR without Parole, and this gentleman over here, young British gentleman, proper British gentleman, it's Sir Miles Dyer.
Good day to you, sir.
And good morrow to you.
Good morrow.
Is that a thing? I don't even know what that means. Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Good morrow. It's good morrow, like good tomorrow, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, man. Happy Friday.
And to you.
The week has just flown by. But I'm really excited. And also, whenever you do the introduction, I'm always having to remember which way you are on the screen. So you're over here, so I always point that way. That's what I'm doing. I don't even know what it is. I've just ended up doing it. I'm like, while Brian's talking, I've got to do something in this area. So I'm just going to point at lots of places and then point at him when he says hey to me and then maybe high five you. Like, high five me now. There we go.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And then someone can edit it, add the sound effect. It'd be good.
Well, dude, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Guys, if you don't know already, I'm glad to hear that. I don't believe it for a second.
No, dude, it's a highlight of my week. Love it.
Nice. Dude,
let's keep doing this. Let's keep doing this.
I think before every single show, there's always a part of me that goes, "Oh, I just want to crawl back into bed and cover up in the blankets and like hide from the world." And then we start doing the show, and like a switch gets flipped, and it's almost like somebody injects Prozac into my body, and everything is way better than it was 10 minutes ago. And I think there's the energy from the cats, the energy from you, and of course my other co-hosts on Monday and Wednesday. So a big fuck yeah to everybody out there for making my life better. I really, really appreciate it. And that includes you, Miles. So appreciate that.
No, it's mutual feeling, dude. And mutual respect and energy is the best feeling in the world. And yeah, the Game Cats, the community is amazing. And actually, I was saying something similar on Wednesday with my own live show. Sometimes you come to these live shows, even with an idea of what you're going to talk about. And it doesn't matter how many times you've done it, you might come to it and be like, are we going to be able to go for an hour? Or am I really feeling it? But once you get the energy, your brain is like, oh yeah, I remember this feeling of like having conversations about VR that we love, gaming, and chatting with an amazing chat that is just full of energy, and super chats, which we love.
For real.
But yeah, it's great.
Excellent. Listen, a few things we want to make sure you guys know right off the bat. If this is your first time being here, if it's your 13,000th time being here, we don't care. We want to make sure that you're more than welcome to come over and hang out with us on Discord. Click the link in the description below. It is totally free to join. But for the people who do feel like supporting the channel financially, you can go to patreon.com/withoutparolegames, get your name on that endlessly scrolling list down below there, and that's $3 tier. Also, for the $3 tier, you get access to voice chat on Discord. And then for the $5 tier, you get some exclusive monthly AMAs. We brought Why We Love back monthly. Really good stuff. And as I've said before, I want to make sure that everybody on Patreon knows that they're appreciated. I'm going to start bringing the litter box back for the $1 plus tier, making sure that everybody gets something exclusive just for supporting the channel. So thank you guys very much for that. Also, as the community's been amazing. Serial Killer, the Game Cat, got a fan wiki page started for us. Click the link for that's in the description. Our amazing friend Jay Meow started. He got the ball rolling on withoutparole.com. That is now an actual thing. I've owned the URL for years, and we finally got some stuff up over there. It's all very primitive. It's all just getting started, right? But make sure you go check it out, and feel free to send us your suggestions for those things over on Discord. Because again, we're just getting started with it, but we're taking everybody's suggestions. We want to know how to make things better, what you guys are interested. Because God knows, I have no idea what anybody wants. Right? I never. Like I am the antithesis of a YouTuber. I have no idea what people really want from anybody. But here's what I really want. What I really want. I'll tell you what I want. What I really want. And that's for you guys right now in the chat to go check out the poll that we posted before the show started. Do you have faith in Survios to make an awesome Aliens VR game? As you guys know, they've had a kind of a rough track record. And so when we get to that topic, we want to have your opinions at the ready. So make sure you click your yes or no and let us know what you think. What do you think, Miles? Do you think they should click the button?
Oh, no, I definitely think they should click the button. And actually, the poll's still running. For a bit of tech trivia for anyone watching, there's a few times I've done a poll on my live show, and then when you do it before you go live, and once you go live, it ends the poll. It's still running now, so this is good. Just means Brian's much more of a professional than me when it comes to live streaming and doing polls. What?
Listen, let's kick off this extravaganza. 9 minutes into the show, 8 goddamn minutes, Miles. With a tip from Super Cool Video Bro, the $5 tip says, "I loved Alien Isolation. I've wanted an official VR port so badly, but do you think this new game will be more action oriented since it's Aliens with an S?" Yeah.
All of this is exactly what we're going to be talking about at the top of the show. I say top, the bottom of the show.
It's the bottom of the show.
Event. It's the main event.
If you guys are just here for Aliens, like just fucking put your feet up, order a pizza. It's going to be a minute.
Yeah, no, for sure. And today's target, we want to hit 300 likes. You might think, we've heard that before. Well, last week we hit 270, so we weren't quite 300. But I believe we can do it this time. So, yeah. And finally, if you're not watching live and watching on replay, still leave a comment. Brian and I check the comments, and we love hearing everyone's thoughts about the show. Throughout the week, it's not just about being live. Obviously, it's great if you're here, but if you're not, you're still part of the conversation.
I love that Ian Stanbridge doesn't let me get away with anything around here. He said what it actually means is that Brian doesn't know how to end the poll, which you might be onto something.
He's just been Discording me, yeah. Miles,
right?
How do I actually get the results?
Yeah. Kill Artist 1, the Dreamweaver Game Cat with the $5 tip says, "Random thought, I got a fellow Game Cat to collaborate on Logic. Neon Groove, the Game Cat, very loyal follower of the channel, on my Dreams game. The Dreams game is called The Warrior's Call. I'm excited and motivated again. Dude, I'm so excited for all these cats who are out there making amazing Dreams content to continue making the content, because sometimes we go months without checking in to see what's happening in Dreams, and then when we finally get back, there's all this new shit to check out, and nothing makes me happier than being like, this is so cool, and then I check to see who made it, and it's somebody I recognize from the community. So keep up the good work, you guys. I really love it. If you don't think you're appreciated, especially in the Dreams community, like, just know that at least I appreciate you. Donatello, the Scientist Game Cat, with a $20 tip. Thank you so much. Says, this community, whether it's in Discord, voice chat, GAMESCAST chat, is filled with wonderful people that come from different places, different points of view. I'm honored to be part of this community. Meows and swipes. Meows and swipes back to you, my friend.
That's so good. Because when I tell people about this show and, friends that may not be gamers or VR gamers, I just say it's just a really good vibe. Like, it's actually one of the best things I say about, why you should watch the live show. The show's all right, but the chat, just so awesome, full of great people. But talking to the community, moving on, viewers takeover. If you are on Discord, we have a viewers takeover channel where you can post any questions that you have for the show. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we get to answer them on here. We're going to quickly rush through these because we've got an action-packed show for today. So first up, we've got Tristan2K7, who said, if the cable is detachable for the PSVR 2, how likely is it that we will see a wireless adapter that makes use of the same input slot? My only concern is lack of a battery, and any sort of battery attachment might be cumbersome based on the design. So we spoke about this briefly before, but like, what are your feelings like after because sometimes you talk about this live and then we go away and have a bit more of a think about it. I think that wireless functionality is a real possibility. Do you feel that as well?
I mean, I think so. I think all the signs are kind of pointing in the same direction. PS5 has Wi-Fi 6 capabilities. That is exactly what you're looking at when you think about wireless VR. The fact that the wire is detachable on the PSVR 2 headset, things are starting to line up now and starting to make a little bit more sense. So yes, I think so. The big question for me though isn't if it's going to be wireless, is if there's going to be a wireless option at launch, or does Sony need a little bit more time to kind of perfect the technology and then give us like a V2 model like a year or two down the road and say, right, hey, listen, for anyone who wants to upgrade, the option is here. You can go wireless if you want. The rest of y'all, your headset's still awesome.
That's a great point. Yeah, I can't see it happening at launch, but who knows? But yes, definitely something later down the line. Right, number 2, Flat Eric, who I believe is new to Discord, so welcome. Do you think the aim controller did well enough to get a new version for PSVR 2? It's the absolute standout peripheral for me and makes shooters so much more immersive. Again, this is something we think about a lot, and when I think about PSVR 2 titles like First Contact Entertainment, if they do a Firewall 0 Hour 2, you want that to be with a new peripheral. I'm someone that's not used great tracking controllers on like Oculus and that for two-handed guns and stuff. So I don't know. It's never going to be as good as the aim controller, and there's no possible way that they could make the aim controller work for PSVR 2. No,
I mean not the original aim controller. No. But really, I mean, what the reason the aim controller was such a great. Such a success, or why we all loved it so much on PSVR 1 is because it offered things that Move controllers didn't. Right? Not only did it feel like you were holding a two-handed weapon, which is important, but also it gave us analog sticks on the controller where the moves didn't, right? And so that was actually a bigger reason why the aim was successful more than anything else. And now that we have the Sense controllers are going to have those analog controls. We've got the sticks on it. We've got the adaptive triggers. We've got all of this stuff that's really amazing. I'm just going to keep saying the same thing over and over, is that I don't see an AIM 2.0 being a fully functional controller. I see AIM 2.0 being a piece of PVC piping where you click your Sense controllers into it. So you use your existing controllers, and then once you have the headset on, it feels like the aim controller, right? Because you got analog sticks right where they're supposed to be. It moves like a two-handed weapon is supposed to move. Like this is, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that's all we need next gen.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I want it to be released as quick as possible. How many years after the PSVR came out? It was a couple of years, was it, before the AIM came out?
I want to say Farpoint was 2018. I could be wrong about that. Was that 2017? I don't know. Somebody in the chat's going to tell me long before I could search it up for myself. But it wasn't terribly long.
I'd like to think it will come out within a year. Of the PSVR 2. I think they know the demand's there. There's going to be massive outcries for it. I mean,
it'll launch with like just a little peripheral, man. It's like here's your $20. Just snap it on.
Yeah, for sure. Because you remember that at the end of the PS4 cycle, they did the back paddles that you could put onto your DualShock.
Yeah.
And then there was a speculation of, is the PS5 DualSense going to have back paddles?
The back button.
Because I'm someone who bought a SCUF controller for PS4, and once you start getting used to it, my goodness, it's really hard to go back. Having the jump button and freeing up your hands a bit more. But then when the DualSense came out, it didn't. But now there's this talk. Was it rumors? I don't think they've announced it yet, but I think very soon they're going to be announcing pro models of the DualSense controller. So
Right.
it's interesting that sort of the cycle of popular products comes around quicker and quicker. So yeah, could be a launch thing or very soon after. I think there'd be definitely demand for it.
I do like Sci-Fi Game Cat Henry in the chat. It says, "I'm just going to 3D print one." It's like, all right,
Yeah.
that'll probably happen. Maybe even before we get our own official one. Who knows?
And 3D printing has got a lot better because a friend of mine, his brother does 3D printing, and they did it, but it's quite brittle. A lot of the old plastics, I'm sure it's got a lot better now, because the thing is, you're not going to be careful. It has to be really well built, because in VR, you're not thinking about being careful. You're in the gunfight,
Right.
and stuff like that. Cool. And then number 3, Naughty Twitcher says, "What would your dream innovation in VR gameplay be?" And they've actually provided one. For example, I've always thought that being able to grow and shrink at will in a VR environment would make a great gameplay mechanic. Think Marvel's Ant-Man VR or something similar, or Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Is there something you wish you could do in a VR game that hasn't been done yet?
So the first thing that comes to mind is obviously always horror, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I think about innovations or VR in general, I think about horror, and so I think the thing that I'm thinking about is I kind of want to be able to, without somebody knowing, invade their game. I want to be able to, like, just like a Souls game, right, where you can like invade somebody's game, but like sort of without them knowing. So like somebody could be running around a haunted house, and then like I'm there, right, as like instead of being some like animatronic animation or something, like or Freddy Fazbear or whatever the dude is from Until Dawn, right? The slasher type dude, right? Like I want to be able to invade somebody's game, and instead of it being like AI, it's me, right? And then when I kill you, you go, "You were just killed by that would be dark," and be like, "Oh no way! Like that was a real person that just killed me. It wasn't just some AI." That's the first thing that comes to mind. But I don't know. I didn't give it too much thought. What about you?
No, that's a really cool idea. I mean, have we had any asymmetric multiplayer games yet in VR? Because I think of like Dead by Daylight and things like that. Like it sort of plays into it. But yeah, being able to invade. And you saying that reminds me of the classic game Journey. The beauty of that game is towards the end, you see other players, but there's no name above them. You don't speak to them. It's just that everyone's on this journey, and you don't know who they are. They're just a player from around the world, and it's this sense of we're all in this journey together, and not knowing who they are gives it this kind of cool effect. I mean, for me, when it comes to innovation, if I was to think really far ahead, when you think of the power of like the haptics and the dual sense, and now it's going to be in the headset. I remember when playing Returnal, and you go into the main menu, and it goes into first person, and you can hear the rain hitting the helmet with the 3D audio. So having that with the haptics on the headset, like if you could feel the rain hitting your head, like I don't know how good the haptics are going to be. That would be amazing. Or maybe in the future, full body haptics. So when you go swimming, you actually feel like you're swimming. Like I don't know. Like that I think that full haptic suits is definitely going to be the future, for sure. But yeah, great,
Nice,
cool. Brian, quick one.
Yeah.
Sunday weekly multiplayer.
What is it?
Is Professor Lillith in the chat? If not, we'll put it on hold. But
yeah, we should let everybody know that every single Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, the Professor Lillith, loyal game cat out there, always organizes a multiplayer PSVR game. There's usually votes every single week in the Discord to decide which game everyone's going to play. And really, I'm going to tell you this right now. Like even though I don't know off the top of my head which game we're playing this Sunday. I've got to say, there are so many dead games in our libraries, and especially with Spark about to go offline. Rumors of Space Junkies possibly headed that way. All sorts of different games that like we're never gonna be able to play again. Really want to be able to take advantage of some of these games while they're still playable, or games that like if we don't organize these things, are just never going to be played multiplayer again. So like really, this is yet another reason to join the Discord, yet another reason to be part of the community, because so many people will comment all the time on like my Honor and Duty D-Day review and say, yeah, that's all great, but it's a dead game. I'm like, yeah, dude, every game's a fucking dead game on PSVR unless you do something about it, right? And here we are, we're trying to do something about it. So like, and give you games to play, and like organize these times where people will actually flood the servers and we can have a good time together. So shout out to Professor Lillith, who's always making sure that
Amazing.
every Sunday is a thing.
And what we're going to try and do is we'll organise ahead so we can actually and always make, because normally Professor will do a super chat and let us know, which is amazing. But like, we want to just make a bit more noise about it because it's such a great thing, and also maybe shout out what the poll is for the following week. But Brian, what's going to happen when PSVR 2 comes out? I've just thought, are we going to be doing multiplayer on Sunday for maybe cross-platform games, or
I'm pretty sure we're gonna be playing PSVR 2 games, bud.
I know.
Yeah,
we are. There's no worries about that.
Once things settle down, once we all get past the newness of PlayStation VR 2 and how next gen,
and we're sick of it, and we're going, this is rubbish.
Right.
Let's go back to PSVR 1. Yeah.
we'll say, hey, let's give these PSVR 1 games some love. Yeah, man, we'll make it happen. We'll make sure that those don't get forgotten about until we're forced to forget about them. Because at some point that's going to happen. Hey, real quick, Miles, I want to make sure that we give a shout out to Super Cool Video Bro with a $2 tip. He was referring to our AIM 2.0 conversation and the PVC piping. He said Wii Zapper, but for the PSVR 2, which is, I think, a pretty good analogy. And we also have Brandon C with the $20 tip saying, the bartending gig's been going well and I got to pay it forward. Love you all, man. Thank you very much, Brandon C. As a former bartender myself, I know that you got to just ride the ebbs and the flows, man. Like some weeks are amazing and some weeks are absolute garbage. Especially waiting tables, man. Like it's like you just get screwed out of a bad section, you just get a bunch of bad tips in a row. Bartending seems to be a little bit more stable, but trust me, man, I know how it is, and I'm sure it's not. The last couple of years hasn't been easy for restaurant employees. I got out just before the pandemic. Wow. All right, man. Let's move on. You've been holding up the Rec Room flag for a little bit here. You've been waving that strong and proud. What the hell's going on over at Rec Room, man? Talk to me.
So, two things are happening in Rec Room. One is we created, with help of Creeper Betty and RCL Man, helped create this awesome Rec Room for PSVR without Parole. So that's the room. But there is also a functionality where when you're on the menu and you look at your watch, there's clubs which you can't access through the Rec Room website, so you have to do it in-game. And when you go to clubs and you search PSVR without Parole, there is the PSVR without Parole club. And when you join it, you can set it so every time you log in, you spawn in our clubhouse. If you haven't seen it already, definitely check it out. It's really, really good fun. But yeah, we've got a club, and every time I'm sort of playing Rec Room and that, occasionally I'll throw out ads left, right, and centre, and there's people that play PSVR that don't even know about this show. And it's been going a few weeks now, and we've just hit over 1,000 members. So yeah, it's huge. It's a huge amount, and so there is an event in the diary in Rec Room for Sunday. It's going to be a get together that's going to be at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK time. It's like an hour after the weekly multiplayer starts, so there is a bit of a gap there. I would just say, come on down even for a bit. I don't know who's going to turn up from the wider Rec Room community, but I think it's just a good chance to, as Brian was talking about at the start, putting that positivity out there, and we might get some more people that want to join. But I just want to give a shout out to Wapow, who was the user that was the 1,000th, because they were running up to me going,
nice,
point at the watch, and then they subscribed and it went to 1,000. And and they said, what do I get? And I said, I'll just give you a shout out on the show. So yeah.
I hope that's prize enough.
Yeah. But I don't know what's going to happen with the club on Rec Room, or if it's going to do anything. But if it does become like the go-to place for PSVR players on Rec Room, which is a massive community, then I think it's a great way of engaging with people and bringing more people into the community on here. Like for me, Rec Room, as I've always said, is the closest we've got to a sort of a PlayStation social hub at the moment. When PSVR 2 comes out, and we'll get to this in a story shortly, we want a PlayStation VR home or something that we can hang out on. But yeah, just go on Rec Room, search PSVR without Parole, join the room, favorite it, and also join the club and come hang out.
Yeah, you can make it your default room too, right? So it's the one you automatically load into if it's someplace that you want.
So you don't load in the dorm, and I'm sure they'll get to a point with critical mass where every time you log in, there'll be other game cats there and PSVR players. So
yeah, that's kind of the hope, right? So instead of like loading into your lonely dorm room, it's like, hey, what's going on? I know you too. I know all 999 of you. Nice. All right, man. Well, listen, it's been kind of a crazy week for PlayStation VR. Strangely enough, during this what should be kind of a dead time, there's been a lot of great news, a lot of great things happening, and I think the first great thing that we want to talk about is it comes from Beat Games. They had a huge update, and I feel like this is going to get overlooked. I think a little bit out there, which is why we really wanted to talk about it. They added, I'm sorry, how many new One Saber maps out there?
Yeah. So they've added 87 new. They call it One Saber. I just like Single Saber. Sounds better. Single Saber levels, in 29 songs. So some of these songs they might have done a normal, an expert hard expert plus, and they've done it for the original soundtrack, and also some of the music packs. So I went on there and did it with some of the Monster Cats tracks, and they've also added the arcs and chains that is the new functionality. So on old tracks, this is something Brian and I were talking about a few weeks ago on here about what would we like to see in Beat Saber. And one of these issues is we want the new types of gameplay functionality brought back to the legacy tracks, and this seems to be like one foot in the door, no pun intended, because it's just one saber, one arm in the door. But this is a great step, and it shows you that they are thinking, how do we go back and celebrate this? With this new functionality. I played a few tracks. The thing about One Saber mode, I love it, but it's a real workout, and you have to get a lot better with your wrists at you forget that when you have two arms, one swings away while the other swings. And as soon as it goes from that to, no, it's one arm, you're having to really move about and all over the place. And I'm always worried my wrist is going to snap off. And I've always done it with my dominant arm, which is my right arm. And a part of me tries it with the left. And I realise actually it'd probably be good for practice because I'm just rubbish. My accuracy isn't that good with it. And I've had a blast of it. And as you say, it's probably not going to get a lot of love online because people are waiting for what's the new pack. But I think for Beat Saber players who have already invested money in packs, it's like, no, we've now added 87. I mean, to be honest, I think it's good they've shouted out about the 87 because it's like, it's not just 29 songs where we've added one, because there's a lot of times where you see the One Saber stuff and it's like, one level, like you got an expert plus for this song and then a hard on this one. Here it seems that they're actually saying, no, we want to add different stages, and you can tell it's been done by the new mapping team because it's the ones I've done have had really interesting mapping for One Saber levels. So for me it's I was going to say double thumbs up, one thumbs up.
Yeah, one thumbs up. I will give it the other thumbs up to make it two thumbs up. But it is, for me, One Saber mode is one of those things that just sort of is in the background all the time. I don't really do the, I saw Brandon C in the chat saying that, RIP 360 degree mode, like Beat Saber's given up on that. But all the other modes have been sort of secondary to me, and so secondary that I barely play them at all. And so seeing just how many of these there were, I was like, oh, this is interesting. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna give this a little bit of love and see what I feel about it. And you can see in the gameplay footage below here. Let's see. I must start with Fallout Boy. Oh, here we go. Perfect. But then we switch over right here to Firestarter, which is on, I think, OST 5. And the mapping, it was just fucking insane, right? So I started with my right hand, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this feels like Beat Saber. This is totally fine. And then I was like, okay, well, the next one, my right arm's tired. Let's give it a break. Let's do this OST 5 song with my left hand. In like within seconds, I was like, wow, I am definitely right-handed because this is really strange. Why does it feel so strange, Miles? Because I play Beat Saber with two hands all the time,
right?
And when I'm just focusing on the one, it's just like you said, like it's no longer the back and forth. It's just this.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, man, that like it made me realize I have a long way to go in Beat Saber before I feel like, because I mean, Expert's not a problem. Expert Plus is I can get a few songs, get through, I don't know, maybe like 20% of the songs on Expert Plus, maybe a lot of them with a little bit of practice. But you can see I'm just like flailing here. I'm just absolutely flailing, just being like, this is not fluid at all. Like I'm just like a robot or something. And so I think doing something like this really, really, really would help improve my skills here because. And that's what I'm going to use these as is practice, not like oh, I just really want to listen to the song and I really want to do one Saber mode. It's like, no, I want to be a better Beat Saber player, and this is one of the many tools they've given us to become that.
I do think it is the one mode on Beat Saber that genuinely makes your arms ache, and it relies on you doing more of the wrist movement, because when you start with Beat Saber, it's just swinging your arms, and it's just like drumming, but it's actually all in the wrists. And just go when you're doing the backwards and forwards, instead of doing this with your arm, it's like, no, just like that. And when it's got all the diagonals and going round and stuff, you just like, I wish I had my other hand just to take the load off. Half would be so much easier. But yeah, having an absolute blast of it. I'm going to jump into some multiplayer, and hopefully other players on multiplayer are up for giving these modes a go as well.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Firebird Old School with the 200 Sekiros in the chat. Firebird Old School the name is appropriate. Firebird Old School is an old school cat. Always love to see names that I feel like I haven't seen in a while, but I could be totally wrong, man. Like I'm just kind of brain dead today. So if you've been MIA, welcome back. If you've been around, I'm sorry that my brain is so fried. Excellent, man. Well, let's move on. I think we have a lot more stuff to talk about.
Brian, GamerCats is now officially recognized by PlayStation.
Yeah, I bet it is. I bet they didn't even remotely screw it up. Yep, they screwed it up. GamerCats.
Oh.
Over on Twitter, they said next week we're celebrating the launch of Stray with your real-life feline friends. Share a photo of your real-life cat alongside your favorite PlayStation controller, game, or gear using the hashtag PSShare, PSBlog for a chance to be featured. And a lot of people have already shown off pictures of their adorable cats. Dude, it's just so
Game
good,
Cats,
man.
everyone needs to enter, but make sure you also include the Game Cats.
Hashtag Game Cat or hashtag Game Cat Army.
Yeah, Game Cat Army. And let's see if we get one of them featured. That would be amazing.
Dude, look at like cats just make everything better. Look at these pictures, man. These are just some of the great. I don't know what we're looking at.
I haven't even looked at these. Oh,
right. It's just look how many DualShock 4s do you have, Felicity Neal? Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is such a great campagin.
It really is.
Nailed it.
It really. They've almost nailed it. They should have teamed up with us, and then they would have nailed it. Right. It'd be like, hey, here are the pictures of the Game Cat Army. But it's still cool, even if PlayStation decides to do it on their own. How does what's up?
This was Jim Ryan at his desk going, "How do I get back at Brian for that PSVR 2 leak all that time ago?" I know. We'll do a post with Gamer Cats.
Right, Gamer Cats, because it just rolls off the tongue, right?
Yeah,
it rolls off the tongue. So a lot of cool cats. Make sure you submit your photo of your actual real feline friend, and yeah, use the hashtag GameCat Army, the hashtag GameCat Army, not hashtag GameCat Army, hashtag GameCat Army, and show Sony that they made a little snafu while they were trying to get this right. This is awesome. Now I could scroll through these all day, and apparently I could because there's an endless supply of them. It's absolutely ridiculous. Oh, dude! Oh, look at the little kittens asleep or laying down on the PS4. This is too cute, man. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's really good. I think Stray is going to do really, really well. I mean, I'm excited to play it on Tuesday. It's going to be a PlayStation Extra. So if you got PlayStation Extra or PlayStation Premium, you're going to get to play it day one at no additional cost, which is great.
Yeah, they said they're not going to be bringing AAA titles to the PlayStation Plus lineup on day one, which I think most of us totally understand. That makes sense. But I think maybe a few of us weren't expecting games that people were really, really excited about to be there on day one, like Stray. Probably not a AAA experience, but a highly anticipated game that I think a lot of people were going to buy, making the Plus platform suddenly a lot more viable for people.
I think they're adding 15 games to PlayStation Extra, which is just incredible. Like, that's a lot of games. The PlayStation Premium, the classic games, I think they're adding only 2 or 3. So that's a bit more disappointing considering that's the top tier. But I understand it's also a lot harder to get licensing, sorted out with more classic games. But no, it's really, really good. Right, moving on. Well, another PlayStation news. There is this thing. Have you heard about this game, Cats, called PlayStation Stars? PlayStation have tweeted about it, introducing PlayStation Stars, an all-new loyalty program celebrating players that's free to join. And they've got first details on the PlayStation blog. I'll read a few paragraphs from this. And this comes from Grace Chen, the Vice President of Network Advertising, Loyalty and Licensed Merchandise. What a title. Today, I'm pleased to reveal PlayStation Stars, a brand new loyalty program that celebrates you, the player, for being on this ever-growing gaming journey with us. PlayStation Stars will be free to join when it launches later this year. Once you become a member, you'll earn rewards by completing a variety of campaigns and activities. Our monthly check-in campaign simply requires you to play any game to receive a reward, while other campaigns require you to win tournaments, earn specific trophies, or even be the first player to platinum a blockbuster title in your local time zone. And I like that it's that with your local time zone as well. All PlayStation Stars members will have opportunities to earn loyalty points. Points can be redeemed in a catalogue that may include PSN wallet funds and select PlayStation Store products. And that's interesting because a while ago there was this talk about trophies being translated, like platinum trophies translated into store credit. I think they tested it for a bit, but this seems like a sort of an evolution of that. As an additional benefit, PlayStation Plus members enrolled in PlayStation Stars automatically earn points for purchases on the PlayStation Store. Also, and this is the bit I'm really excited to talk about, as part of PlayStation Stars, we are unveiling a new type of reward called digital collectibles. Collectibles are as diverse as our portfolio of products and franchises. They are digital representations of things that PlayStation fans enjoy, including figurines of beloved and iconic characters from games and other forms of entertainment, as well as cherished devices that tap into Sony's history of innovation. Astrobots comes to mind straight away, of that room that you get all the peripherals and stuff like that. There will always be a new collectible to earn, an ultra rare collectible to strive for, or something surprising to collect just for fun. And then finally, they say, we hope this new program brings to mind past gaming memories while making you excited for the future with PlayStation. Looking back over, I think it's now 27 years. We're currently doing some early tests on this program before launching it later this year in phased regional rollouts. Brian, what comes to mind? Are you excited for this?
I would not be excited. I would not be excited for this at all if it was flat screen only. But I think because really, I mean, digital collectibles, like, you're just gonna be thrilled to have digital collectibles sitting around on your flat screen somewhere, like in. I just can't imagine caring about that. Being like, oh, here's a little trophy, here's a little, like a headmaster, soccer ball or whatever, right? I can't imagine being excited about that stuff outside of VR. But in VR, especially if Sony kind of comes through for us and delivers a new PlayStation Home for PlayStation VR 2 users, and we all have our own personal living space and a customizable space, a customizable apartment, and then suddenly you can have all these little knickknacks, these things that you're proud of, that you've collected, adorning your entire apartment. Suddenly that becomes really exciting to me, whereas outside of VR, I just couldn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's like all the themes were kind of all right, and but when you get like new avatars, maybe if there's the one avatar you want, but then the ones that you're not using, I don't really care for them. And they had sort of the emojis and messaging of certain characters and stuff, and I'm totally with you. And we've spoken on previous shows about what we want when you start up the PSVR 2 is not a flat home screen.
Right.
You want it to be an actual home. You're in a room. And trophies are on the wall. In Iron Man VR, they had that, where as you unlock trophies, they appear on the wall. But yeah, to have these digital collectibles, to pick them up and turn them around and look at them would just be amazing. And I feel like I can't say that this is paving the way for having that in VR, but it's something that would just work best in that. Like, surely that is going to be a thing. Astrobot, all their games are really cool. That you unlock all these collectibles at the end, and it builds this world around you with the things that you unlock. It's a really, really fun thing to do. And the thing that PlayStation have also said, which I'm really glad for, although some people may disagree in the chat, is these are not going to be tradable. This is not NFTs or anything like that.
Right.
They're not getting on in the NFT
So happy
bandwagon.
they clarified that. Yeah.
Yeah. This is just going to be for your account, things that you unlock. The thing that, as a trophy hunter, be the first player to platinum a blockbuster title. Now that might just be them, saying, be the first to, platinum Horizon or something like that. But I hope it does mean for all games, not just the big ones, but the niche ones as well, indie games, especially in the VR space. Because I like the idea that there is these charts of who completed games first on these PSN trophies websites. Sony needs to own that more, because all that information has come from PlayStation's API. Like, the data's there.
Right.
So Sony must know, well, actually, these websites have got all this traffic because people are interested in this. They know the power of trophies. And so, I just think, I think this is really, really cool.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear what the reaction from people outside of the VR community is, though, because again, this seems like a perfect fit for VR. This seems like, I would want to show it off to friends and be like, hey, before we head over to big screen, come on over, and I want to, like, make you jealous about all this cool shit that I've collected by playing all these different games. But I don't see that translating at all to the flat screen. I'd love to see how it's even represented on the flat screen. Yeah, right. If you're not presenting them in a virtual world, a virtual room, a virtual environment, like, you're just gonna, I don't know, you're just gonna have like a collection of stickers or something somewhere. Like, I mean, I get, you could have like a 3D room, like, and maybe, and now I'm really just speculating. Obviously, that's what we've been doing the whole time, but.
Well, remember the PlayStation advert we watched? Because we literally talked about this, where the guy comes home with the steak or whatever it is on a plate,
Yeah.
And he's going into his underground thing, and there's all the different items for different games and collectibles. So,
Yep.
Oh, man.
Well, so do you think? So I mean, I know we're taking this way further than we probably should, but do you think this could lend some credibility to, like, A, PlayStation Home existing when PSVR 2 launches, and B, having it be some kind of hybrid thing where, just like Home was a flat screen experience for PlayStation 3 users, it could also be it could be where a place where VR gamers and flat screen gamers can connect. And you're like, and some people are like, oh yeah, I'm doing this in VR, just like Rec Room. And some people are like, oh, I'm just doing this on the flat screen. Yeah,
it's such good marketing. So in Rec Room, when you're playing, well, I haven't done it, but I've had friends say, "Oh, I'm playing flat screen. Are you in VR?" And they can see the way you're moving, and it's like, wow, so you're in the game. Like, in a weird way, they're watching a flat screen. It's like, Miles, you're in my TV. Like, you're actually there. And that's great marketing. Is talking to people about this is what it's like being in VR. But yeah, the whole thing about Home. I just feel it's the only reason I have ever thought that Home is not a possibility in the scale that we want it to be is because of terms of service. The fact that Sony have to moderate their own platform, and that's why GTA Online did so well, because it's GTA Online. You can go on there and tell someone to go F themselves as much as you want, because it's all a part of being in Grand Theft Auto, where you're shooting people and running people off the road. That couldn't work as a PlayStation Home thing. But I do think that maybe the Overton window is moving now. Maybe Sony feels there is a bit more freedom and there are ways of moderating. Yeah. I mean, I think of Zenith and like how non-toxic, as far as I've seen, the community is. It's obviously going to be different from VR gamers that go into that compared to opening up to the whole of PlayStation. But yeah, I mean, look, I really do hope that, that we hate the buzzword, the metaverse, but the reality is the metaverse is a real concept. And if the metaverse is a concept that all these big organizations are investing billions into, whether it's with PlayStation Epic Games, whether it's with Meta, or it's with, any other companies, the point is they see the social spaces. They've looked at Epic Games and Fortnite and all the live show experiences and the the fact that these become massive global celebrated events. They know this is the future, and so it would be a huge missed opportunity if they're not paving the way for that now. I think they do. I think they know that the future of gaming is social platforms, and that's what they're going to work towards.
Yeah. Really quick, want to make sure this is the worst thing about letting tips get past us is that they're way out of context by the time we get to read them. So my apologies to Looper, the Underground Game Cat Rare with the €2 says, yeah, they totally misspelled Gamer Chick. This is all the way back during our Gamer Cat discussion. Sorry, Looper. That would have been way funnier 20 minutes ago. I apologize. All right, man, let's move into one of our main stories of the day, and that's another update came to PlayStation VR game this week, and that update was for fan favorite Swordsman VR. Recently we just got a huge update with the advanced combat, and the advanced combat was supposed to be include some predictive AI, and had all sorts of new motion captured moves for your opponents. And then this update, the finisher update, is supposed to be give you a chance once your opponent reaches 0 HP. You're supposed to give you a chance to. They occasionally fall to their knees and let you execute them. There's so many different ways that could have gone, but they fall to their knees. They let you execute them in kind of like whatever way you choose. Miles, we both dove into this today. What were your first impressions?
Well, I said to you when I finished playing it, I said to you on Discord, Brian, how do you finish them? And then when you told me, I was like, oh no, okay, that was it. Yeah. Because I got to a point where I was holding the sword at them, and they were like doing this, like.
That's exactly.
And then and I thought, oh, they're gonna start begging or something, and then there's gonna be some like epic thing. And it's like, and I'm waiting with the sword, and I'm like, any last words? And then he just goes,
yeah,
and that's it.
It's sort of like in Street Fighter when you daze an opponent, right? And they just kind of like.
It wasn't even that. It just looked like a night out at my local town, like just everywhere.
Yeah,
just people everywhere.
Yeah. This is something they sort of hyped up a little bit, and we're like, hey, this is something we're adding, and I was like, well, that's fine. Obviously, the second they announce something like this, we go, man, I hope this is the first step to being a little bit more Mortal Kombat, being like, hey, this dude falls to the ground, and then you hold a specific button, or you're using a specific weapon. You have a certain type of armor equipped, and then boom, you can punch into their chest and like rip out a still beating heart, Kano style, right? Or you can just rip off their head with the spine still attached. Shit, who was that? That wasn't Scorpion.
Don't ask me. I have no idea.
Was that Sub-Zero? That was Sub-Zero back in the Mortal Kombat 1. And so, and just like and give this opportunity. And 100% I knew that wasn't going to be in this update. I figured this is just like kind of a setup for another update, setup for the future. But I will still say, even though I didn't expect it to be very much, I am still, and I feel like this is sort of the narrative around Swordsman lately, is that I've just been very disappointed with all the updates. And it's because the dude falls to his knees, and he's just kind of doing the stagger.
Not even that. My guy was like on his back, and I was like, and the next guy wasn't spawning, so I knew he still wasn't dead. Look, and just to be clear, I don't want him to start like, please don't, I have a family. Right. Like, I don't want any of this stuff and begging. Like, I'm not after that. I was just curious to know what the feature was. But something I will say, because I know that the advanced combat you weren't particularly blown away by.
Right.
I hadn't jumped into Swordsman since the last boss battle was added. So I hadn't actually played with the advanced combat. And I know that there was some questions about, like, does it feel like it's a real new feature? I couldn't tell you what was new in terms of what I saw, but how it felt, and it might be just because I haven't played it for a while, it just felt a lot more substantial, the combat. It felt like, I don't know, it just felt a bit more real. It felt a bit more impactful, like you were really up against someone that was moving more human-like.
Yeah.
I did really like it. But I just want to say, when it comes to Swordsman, I love it, and I don't mean this as a negative, because normally this would be used as a negative for a game, but I think it's an absolutely incredible VR tech demo of what they could do next.
Right.
Because I enjoy playing this as a game, but like in terms of streaming it and that, because it's just like it's in one environment. It's just one-to-one. I think it's great to show friends, and it's good to see them parry and all this sort of stuff. Don't get me wrong. I think everything they've done since Studios has done with this game has been amazing. The fact they keep updating it, the Kraken and all this sort of stuff, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I just think they've been so great in their execution, and a lot of VR developers should probably take note and take on board a lot of what they've done, because a lot seem to just let their games go. Sin Studios have been absolutely brilliant. Right. But when I talk about the tech demo, it's because I feel like for PSVR 2, the fact that they've mastered the parrying, it feels like, because, you know, I'm going to say something that's really obvious, but I just think I need to explain it. You know, the difficulty in VR is when you're sword fighting, you're swinging through air. It's why Beat Saber works as a rhythm game, because you're slicing blocks. But then if you're playing a game where you're hitting drums and you're not getting a bounce back because you're not physically hitting something, that can be less immersive. But for a game where you're parrying with an AI, you feel it. And you feel like if you don't get it right, you get muddled in with them, and it feels a bit scrappy. And that's really awesome. And I just feel, if with everything they've learned and they've built and they keep developing for the PSVR 2, they did a, 3-player co-op game where you're going through a town, and, it's like Golden Axe. Do you know what? If Sin Studios got given by Sega the IP to Golden Axe and said, make VR Golden Axe, I've just thought that out of the top of my head right now, I'm like, they could totally do that, and that would be phenomenal. I'm just going to put it out there. Sin Studios, try and get that. If you do that, it would be an absolute storm. But the thing is, the technical side, a lot of games, they have good visuals in VR, or maybe they've got a great IP, and then the gameplay is kind of good. But at the end of the day, it's about, how is this a VR game? How has this game been made great for VR? And what Sin Studios have done is they've made a really solid sword fighting, mechanics, which I think now if they implant that into a campaign game, I think would just be phenomenal. That's how I feel.
I mean, half the problem is us right now. I'm going to put that out there, because there are so many people that love arena fighters, right? That's just a genre that people love. To us, it feels like a tech demo, because we're looking for something bigger. We're looking for something, we're looking for going from town to town and dungeons in between each one, where we do this. And it's like this big sense of progression where we're buying, new weapons along the way, and we're, fighting. And where's the boss? Okay. Now we've taken down the boss of the dungeon. Now we moved on to the next town, and then we get to go talk to NPCs and do the whole thing. But there's a whole sect of people out there, a whole group that loves battle, like just arena fighters. Right? Where like they're not looking for more than that from this genre. So yes, it feels like a tech demo to us, because like this kind of like isn't our thing. But like I totally do understand the people out there who are like, no, this is the game I wanted to play, in its entirety.
But on that point, it's also worth mentioning, this is the nature of PSVR. It's been the emergence of domestic VR headsets and gaming. Like, Sin Studios are going to be one of those studios that we look back on and go, they helped build up VR for what it became. And so the fact that, the thing you say about arena fighters, it is popular, but it's because VR is very limiting. Everyone doesn't have rooms they can walk around. You kind of want to be sort of in a limited area. But because of everything they've built with it, it's giving you a bit of insight of, actually, no, they could actually do a campaign with this. Because if it wasn't a good arena game, you'd go, okay, it is what it is. I think that's about it. Whereas to have feedback like this, which is, it's great at what it does, but it's clear that they could do even better things with this. I think, as devs, they should probably take good comfort in that, the fact that we believe in what they're doing and feel that there's really a next stage to it. So having jumped back into it today, I had a good time. I'm not going to spend a lot of time back in it, because I'm like, I've been here, but every time I play it, the sword fighting feels great and it feels immersive. And I just now want there to be some kind of story. And that's the stuff that would be really interesting to stream as well. I don't think arena fighters are particularly good for streaming, because
I mean, if you really get into the role and like ham it up like that,
Yes.
and most streamers do, right?
True.
That's actually why I think that this is a great update for streamers, because dude falls to his knees, does this, and then they get to go, like they get to like do some big speech and then chop the dude's heads off,
Sure.
But Miles, trying to stick to this update here. I know we've kind of gone down a road far away from the update. This update I think needs work, right? And I think in ignoring all of my wishes for actual Mortal Kombat fatalities, what I think Sin needs to do is when they fall into this dazed state, suddenly they need to push the level of blood through the roof. They need to make it easier than ever to decapitate or dismember your opponent, and really just like I kind of push things to 11 a little bit, because during a fight I was able to dismember an opponent pretty easily. I was able to just chop his arm off, right? I was able to chop his head off pretty much no problem. But then while they're in this dazed execution state, I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't able to kill them in any cool way. And just to be able to go, all right, here we go, boom, and with one fell swoop, and give me a 95% possibility that I'm going to accomplish the decapitation, just give me a ton of blood when it happens too, and then give the streamers what they need to really act out this crazy fantasy and ham it up and and have fun and make their audience laugh and shit. Because right now it seems like it's harder to decapitate them and dismember them when they're in this state. And so I feel like this is an interesting first step, but it's just not there. Take the next step. Screw fatalities, screw the Mortal Kombat aspect. Just make what you've given us just that much better, right? And I don't think it'd be that much work from a non-developer standpoint. I'm just assuming it's got to be easy, right?
The reason you're not decapitating, Brian, is you got to remember you're not fucking playing Walkabout. You're playing. You're not swinging a golf club. You got to get the swing right, man. It's all about going for that artery. There.
Maybe I'm just not doing it right.
Something I love about this game though is their DLCs. Just the names they give them, like when they came, we got the dismemberment update. The fact they say that, I'm just like, my goodness, that's amazing. They're just like, there's other terms I can think, skull something, that they could come up with updates of all sorts of stuff.
Sorry, were you about to suggest a skull fucking update? Was that where this was going?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying they're the sort of, with all these updates they've been doing, they could just do that and I go, yeah, that sounds like a Swordsman update.
Sure.
They're just so bold with their updates of like, we're just going to do really outrageous violence, massacre update, yeah, why not? Genocide update, yeah.
Yeah.
It spawns a load of villagers that you can just butcher. Yeah, that sounds like Swordsman. It's just unapologetic. It's brilliant.
Loop of the Underground Game Cat with the €2 says Sin should just make Elder Scrolls 6 VR, which, I mean, let's be fair. I think that's maybe the next stop should be Shadow Legend type game, and then the step after that go for something open world. But who knows, man? I think Sin is 11 times bigger than they were when they put out Swordsman. So I think we can expect great things from them next gen. Wally is now GameCat, specifically White Tiger with Canadian $2 tip, says, Brian, I do not want to wait for PSVR 2 anymore.
Well, we've got some bad news for you.
It's been delayed till 2024. I'm really, really sorry. Everybody run.
Yeah.
Right. It's been painful. It's been really, really painful. All these delays have been, not delays, but the silence from Sony through all these years has been rough. But we're finally getting there, and we're finally getting there together. And soon we'll all have PSVR 2s. Some of you still need PS5s, so I guess we'll just take it one step at a time here. But yeah.
And speaking of finally, Brian, it's now for the show's main topic.
Oh, well, what's the main topic today? Oh, shit.
Oh, it's
yeah.
Let me just look at the video thumbnail. What was it?
Damn. I think we just covered it. I think it was Swordsman.
Yeah. Oh, and
we might as well go home. That's it.
Aliens. Yeah. Yeah. Look, this is. I was really excited when I saw this news.
Yeah.
Survios is working on Aliens, an Aliens VR title. It is going to be called Aliens.
Yep.
So let's just go into a bit of description. This comes from Polygon. They got an article by Michael McWhirtle, who says A new game based on the Alien franchise is coming to consoles,
Right.
PC, and virtual reality platforms. So I assume that does mean flat screens.
Yeah, yeah. This sounds like the epitome of a hybrid game. You know, especially developed by Survios, a prominent VR developer. So we'll see
Who
how they
actually
handle this.
they didn't do a hybrid game, but after doing Creed in VR, the boxing game, they then did a flat screen, didn't they? Because I thought it was a sequel, and then it was just a flat screen game. So they're now like, instead of selling two, there must be a way we can merge together. So this hybrid games is so good for developers because they're not taking the risk now, are they? Because it's like, you want to do a VR game, that's great, but you also have the whole flat screen market as well.
And just a heads up, I don't want anybody to be confused. Whenever we talk about this game, until we actually see real footage of it, I'm just going to keep playing this Alien Isolation footage. This is what we really want in VR. I don't know if this is what we're going to get in VR. But anyway, continue. You're reading from the Polygon article? Is that right?
Yeah, I am. Promising an intense single-player action horror game experience set in the sci-fi franchise. 20th Century Games and Survios, the developer behind VR games like Creed, Rise to Glory, Raw Data, and Sprint Vector, say that, which are three great games of theirs, by the way. Mm-hmm. They didn't mention Walking Dead for some reason. Say their untitled project will be an untold alien story set during the 57-year gap between the events of the original Alien and sequel Aliens. The new Aliens game will star a battle-hardened veteran has a vendetta against the Xenomorphs, according to the game's official website. Survios say its project will build on the studio's expertise in creating immersive and authentic gaming experiences. And this is what I love. The game is being built using Epic Games' Unreal Engine 5. Hell yeah. 20th Century Games and Survios say more details will be released at next week's Comic-Con in San Diego, so we don't have to wait long for that, at the Alien Expanding a Dark and Frightening Universe panel on July 21st, so 5 days away. So first of all, Brian, I mean, we have a poll going on right now, don't we?
We do.
Which was asking, do you have faith in Survios to make an awesome Aliens VR game? We'll close this poll in 2 minutes, so if you haven't voted already, head on over. We've had 177 votes. Brian, are we excited for this announcement? How are we feeling about it?
Listen, man, I'm really excited about it because there's no way in hell this is a PSVR 1 title. This is certainly, they're talking about PSVR 2. Survios did not even release The Walking Dead Onslaught on Quest, and so I think from that you can sort of tell where their direction is headed. Like they tweeted publicly not that long ago that really they think the future of VR is PlayStation VR 2, and that is what they're kind of putting all their eggs in that basket. And so, to me, this means that this has probably been in development for a little while. Because I think anybody like Survios has been looking at PlayStation VR 2, dealing with the silence from Sony, knowing that it's coming, and just sort of rolling the dice with release dates, right? Just being like, well, we don't have an official date. Sony's not telling us. We know it's going to be huge, and so we need to be developing a next gen VR game while we're in this transitional period. And let's put out Puzzle Bobble, 3D Vacation Odyssey. Like let's just because we need to get that Quest money rolling in, right? They probably promised Oculus that they would make something for Quest, and they were like, well, let's just do this, right? And then we'll fulfill our obligation and we'll make some money. But the whole time saying we need to be there for the PSVR 2 launch or soon after, or the launch window, like the first year, right? This to me tells me this is the game that they've been working on for probably a couple of years now. And so that's why I'm excited about it, because I'm like, I don't think we've seen a game that Survios has spent so much time on for a very long time.
Yeah. Steve, I just have to read his comment. Yep. Face huggers impregnate you with loot boxes. Yeah. You have to pay $1.99 to get the face hugger off you.
So the poll that we're closing right now says, yes. The question was, do you have faith in Survios to make an awesome Aliens VR game? And 66% of you said yes. 34% of you said no. So 34% of you played Onslaught. This is a problem, right? Because they've been trusted with an IP before, and the results were average, I would say. I mean, I think they've made a lot of improvements to Onslaught. It is what it is now, and it's okay, right? There are certainly good moments in Onslaught. But dude,
Brian,
yeah,
quick question.
yeah.
If Saints and Sinners had never come out, would Onslaught have got a better rap?
It's funny that you bring that up because I hear this from people all the time, and I don't understand.
I'm not saying I agree with that.
No. I'm saying, but when people bring it up and say, "Well, this would have been, people would have loved this if it wasn't for Saints and Sinners," and I'm like, really? Like, to me, I'm like, the campaign was so boring. It was like such a, you're just walking, even though you're outside for a good part of it, it still feels like they're funneling you down corridors. The story, sorry, sirens on my end. The story was, they made a mistake by making it canonical, right? By actually having it take place in the AMC universe during a set period of time, because they were only able to mess with the events that happened between season 8 and season 9. And as it turns out, nothing happened between season 8 and season 9, because here's the story. Spoilers, nothing happened, right? It's like this total throwaway story that, Norman Reedus wandering around aimlessly. Like, it's just, the whole thing just seems like it wasn't exciting. The campaign wasn't exciting. It was so obvious that the scavenging runs were meant to be this big multiplayer event where like four of you are running down the street together, running from the zombie horde and scavenging items and having this great. But when they stripped out multiplayer, they stripped out really a lot of the fun from that mode. And so while it was fun for the first few times, it wasn't fun much after that. So there's so many problems with this game that. I don't know, man. Like, I just don't. I don't care whether Saints and Sinners came out. This game came out in the state that it came out. Oh, and even though they gave you this huge arsenal of weapons to find, unlock, upgrade. Each one had 3 upgrades, and then but still nothing was better than just braining them with a knife. All those weapons were like kind of useless when it came down to it. So there's so many problems, right? And so what do you end up with this really, really painfully average zombie shooter that regardless of what other games came out, no, I don't think it was up to, I don't know, up to really any standard that we deserved.
Yeah, I mean, look, despite it, I still have a lot of faith in this. But another factor of this conversation about that is what type of game it's going to be, because although it does say it's going to be an action horror, it's between Alien and Aliens. Look, I'm just going to throw out all these considerations out there and then get your thoughts on this. Mm-hmm. So Alien Isolation, I never played. I've seen plenty of footage. It obviously got modded for VR, but the company never actually made an official VR one. That was survival horror. Yeah. Survival horror single player, creeping around, trying to stay away from the one xenomorph that's on the ship.
Yeah.
That is in line with the original Alien movie.
Right.
Aliens was a complete change in genre that James Cameron did. It was action, and you're like, is this going to take away from it? It's an amazing movie with a totally different feel. Feels like a Vietnam movie, war movie. It's really, really great. And so I'm wondering, is this game going to be survival horror, or is it going to be more? It does say action horror. It's where is the line going to be? Because it could still have action and still be a survival horror, like a more Resident Evil style.
Yeah.
So it depends on how many you're going to fight. But straight away, I'm just like, and this might be me just being a scaredy cat and a slightly different question to the first one, but the Marines co-op Aliens game that came out recently actually got quite good. It wasn't the most amazing game, but I hear it was a pretty decent, fun game. It was like a Left 4 Dead, but with xenomorphs and that. And I would just love to be fighting with friends using the scanner and like keep covering each other's backs, with them going across the rafters and stuff like that. I know it's a stupid thing to be disappointed about because it's still going to be probably an amazing first-person game, but I'd love it there to be a multiplayer action game where you're all just on a ship and it's like you've got to get out and there's loads of xenomorphs on here. Like with friends, it'd just be so good. But do you think it's going to be action or more survival horror? I mean, it feels like it's going to be somewhere in between.
I think somewhere in between is a pretty safe bet. Strangely, the Alien game that comes to mind is Alien Trilogy on PlayStation 1, which had you walking down these really dark corridors. And I think the important thing to remember here is that there's something about the Alien franchise that inherently is horror, and no matter how much you try to escape it, you can't, right? Because these xenomorphs are powerful, they're big, and the sense of scale in VR is going to be very impactful. Also, with the motion tracker, you know that any Alien game in VR is going to use that motion tracker, and I think the creaking sounds or whatever in the darkness of the space station or wherever the hell you are, combined with this little motion tracker where it's just you sort of see a blip of an alien that's like just around the next corner. Like, it's going to be real tense. And there's, so I think even if they were trying to avoid some kind of semblance of horror, I don't think you can. I think if you're going to make a proper Alien game, it's just going to happen naturally. And so I do think that the inherent stuff is, the inherent horror stuff is just going to be there. But there's probably, I can only imagine they're going to go balls to the walls when it comes to the arsenal, right? All the weapons that you're going to be able to unlock. And, I'm sure by the time you're 20% the way through the game, it's going to be way less scary because suddenly you're armed to the gills, right? Now you're absolutely capable of dealing with whatever enemy comes your way. So I think
they could play with both ends of the spectrum. They could literally say at the start it's a survival horror. And then the reason you like playing that game is because you'll get to a point where you can actually stand up to them, and that means I never played Alien Isolation. I do wonder, was it a game that started to get repetitive because it feels like it's very one note? Obviously my understanding is very much like the Alien movie. There's a lot at the beginning where you don't see the alien at all. You're just walking around this ship, and it's the creepiness of it and not sure. Yeah. But I assume eventually when it's the xenomorphs there, it's pretty much. Yeah, you're just trying to get from one room to the next without being
terrifying.
Spotted.
It's terrifying.
But
yeah, and a lot of times you find yourself you're like hiding underneath the desk, and the xenomorph tail like just goes by, and you're just like, oh my god, this is fucking insane. It's really tough, and you're hearing the sounds like just right above you, and you're praying that they're gone when you peek your head out. But yes, you are 100% correct. That gets old, right? After a while, because. I don't think it would get old in VR, but what happened to me was I'd be like, okay, this is terrifying, but then I would die, and then I would die again, and then I would die again, the exact same segment, and so then I tried to find exploits. This is like now I'm just gonna beeline it for the next room that I know I need to be in, right? After figuring out the map and figuring out where I need to be, I'm like, now I'm just gonna fucking run. Right, and hopefully the door will close behind me, and then I'll be safe for another second, and then I'll die until I exploit the game again, and I just beeline it to the next place I'm supposed to go. And so to me, it did get a little bit old, but I just can't picture that getting old in VR.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm with you completely. What's the chat feel? What does the chat feel? Obviously you've done the poll, but I'm curious to know what they feel in terms of. Look, this is going to be definitely a day one play. I'm super excited for it, and if it's with the Unreal Engine 5, I'm just super excited for it. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you this, man. I really hope they don't screw this up, because I do think that the success of VR next gen with PSVR 2 obviously depends first and foremost on the quality of the games, making sure that everything we get is good. So this is important, right? If somebody out there is buying, I've already said it, I think a lot of people are going to buy PSVR 2 because they're huge Horizon fans, and they go, wow, the next Horizon game is only in VR, and this is the only place we're going to be able to pick it up is in VR. The only place we're going to be able to play is PlayStation VR 2 specifically. That's going to sell a lot of Horizon fans on being like, well, I guess I'm going to check out this VR game. And so I always go back to Greg Miller from Kind of Funny, from IGN, Podcast Beyond, who when he was a kid, he was walking. He's never played a video game before. He's walking through a store with his mom, and he sees Ghostbusters on the Sega Master System behind the glass case, right? And he just stops in his tracks. He's told the story a million times, which is why it's probably ingrained in my mind. Like he sold it to me. He hasn't. He points at his finger hits the glass and he goes, "Mom, what's that?" He loves Ghostbusters, but has never played a video game. And Ghostbusters on the Sega Master System convinced him to get a Master System, convinced him to buy a game, and then suddenly he's a gamer, right? We're at a place with VR where we need to do a lot of convincing, right? It hasn't taken, for whatever reason, even though there's hundreds of millions of gamers out there, if not more, for whatever reason, VR is struggling to get its foot in the door. For whatever reason, people are more hesitant. So we need all of these little things, like people who are fans of Aliens to be like, okay, there's an Aliens VR game. Oh man, I gotta check that out. Fans of Resident Evil. Oh, there's a Resident Evil game. I gotta check that out. We need it from every single angle possible to get everybody who's walking by a glass case in a store to go, boom, what's that? Right? And one by one, we're going to get there to this like mass adoption that VR needs, because we're not there yet. And so Survios can't screw this up. Like, this is going to some people are going to buy this and go, okay, this isn't as cool as I thought it was going to be, and move along and never play VR again.
And to be honest, Alien games have generally had a bad rap. Like, very rarely have they been able to nail it, which is why Alien Isolation really blew people away, not just because it was a great game, but they were like, wow, they've really captured the feeling of the movies. And, despite looking at stuff like, Walking Dead Onslaught, this is a great example, as you were touched upon, of big IPs uniting with established VR developers. Endreams are now doing Ghostbusters VR. Yep. We've got Twilight Zone, we've got Peaky Blinders, we've had Doctor Who in the past. We've had a wide range of IPs, and this is just going to keep rolling more and more. I think that regardless of if we like, the idea of VR being a fad, in the corporate world, if 20th Century Fox is like, no, VR is actually buzzing right now, we should get some of our properties in it, let them do it. Because especially if they're not saying we're going to do it in-house, or we'll get some people that have tested with VR and try and build a VR. No, they're like, no, let's actually contact VR developers and say, we will give you this IP if you run with something. So yeah, I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, and we got to, I'm just really happy that we're in this place where where these big IPs, and I think Batman: Arkham Asylum really started this trend where where the studio started caring about the actual game and stopped trying to tie it to a movie that was coming out or a new cartoon series or whatever, right? Like we're in a good place with licensed games where hopefully we never get back to the LJN stage of things, like in the NES 8-bit era, where they were just pumping out garbage just to cash in on these things. It's time to treat these things with the respect they deserve, and a lot of studios are finally doing that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Brian. I think that wraps it up.
Hell yeah, it does. All right, man. Well, you know what time it is. That means it's time for PSVR 20 questions, where I think you're the host this week, which means you've picked a PlayStation VR game.
I'm picking. Yeah. So and by the way, actually, can I just say?
You can.
I know it's 20 past the hour, but we are actually on track. We've actually been pretty good on our timings today.
You love patting yourself on the back before we actually make it across the finish line. We're not there yet.
It's going to take 40 minutes. It's going to be a 40-minute 20 questions, dude, especially because I haven't picked a game yet. So just give me like 10 minutes to pick a game.
Listen, I know inside baseball is everybody's favorite thing here, but let me tell you right now. I told Miles at the beginning of the show, I was like, you've got too much shit in here. We're not going to be able to get through all of the topics that you want to talk about in a decent amount of time. We're going to be here for 3 hours. So I am actually really proud of us, Miles, that we managed to move the show along as fast as we did.
Yeah, no, same, man. Although we didn't talk about this at the start of the show, and someone in the chat was mentioning it earlier. Resident Evil is on Netflix. I didn't get to watch it earlier. Just give your like two lines while I'm choosing a game of what did you make of it? Because I've actually heard mixed things. I've heard some people going, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, which is a depressing state of affairs. But...
Yeah, it's not, that line isn't selling anybody on anything. It's fine. It's fine, and by fine I mean not good, but not terrible. I've only watched the first episode, and I was not impressed. Especially after hearing some really, really great reviews from like GameSpot. GameSpot.com gave it a 9 out of 10. And a lot of other sites gave it, very promising, very, very, a lot of praise. The reviews have been all over the place, though. It wasn't
because the first episode is the one that you really want to sell the series. This is the one that you're going to put all your budget in, the best storytelling, and you've watched the first one. They've really gone in for the first one, and you say it's not that great. It's
slow, and Here's
Is it based on the actual, like,
yeah,
Resident Evil? So it is actually based on the game. Have they actually got characters from the game?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm
they
sure
have the same name. I mean, yeah.
I'm sure they're going to introduce them
Right.
because it is in the same universe. It's in the same world. But Miles, I think this kind of brings up the problem of the Resident Evil universe. It's not a well told story. Like the video games have not told a coherent story. It's almost Kingdom Hearts ridiculous as all over the place. Where you're just like, what? Seriously? Like, okay, so there's the main stars of the series. Umbrella's doing its thing, and now it's like there's T virus, and now there's a different kind of virus. Now there's this thing over here, and you can just sort of tell that they were just making shit up because they're like, oh, we gotta make a new game. Here's a new story, right? And then next thing you know, we're at the Baker estate with Jack and Marguerite and Lucas, and you're like, what in the actual fuck is going on? Is this really a Resident Evil game? So the stories, I think the TV show really pinpoints that the stories in the games aren't good enough to just make a movie out of, because Welcome to Raccoon City tried that, and everyone hated it. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't exactly well done, but yeah, it's just... So the fact they have to create these new characters and create all these new narratives in order to call it Resident Evil just sort of proves that the foundation isn't exactly solid to begin with. Yeah, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. It's 8 hours, 8 episodes, I think, an hour each, and I think it's going to be rough.
I've never watched Stranger Things. I'm going to watch that instead. Right, Brian, I have chosen a game.
Excellent. Well, everybody knows how this works. Ash VR, the Groovy Game Cat with the $2 tips, has another great show. Thanks again. Thank you. Hopefully you're going to help me out on 20 questions, because Miles has picked a PlayStation VR game. It is in his head.
VR. Sorry, VR. Let me just give me a second.
I really need you guys out there to help me, not only with the questions, the yes or no questions, to narrow down what game it is, but also help me out with some suggestions as Miles promptly and quickly and expeditiously answers each question, unlike our favorite Monday co-host, AJ, who took a minute to answer the first question on Monday's show.
Really? And what was the first one?
I don't know. Like, does it have analog support or something? Does it use analog sticks? Or whatever it was, it took 49 seconds or something. I was like, yeah.
I love Ian in the chat goes, I predict Miles is going to AJ the fuck out of this 20 questions.
I have a bad feeling about it too. A bad feeling. It's been 10 minutes since we just congratulated ourselves on how good the show's going to be.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Let me put 5 minutes.
I'm gonna try and answer these as quick as I can. Here we go.
We'll see.
Quicker than normal.
We'll see. Here it is. Let's go. Does it use analog sticks?
No.
Okay. Is what you're doing in this game mostly shooting?
No.
Okay.
2.
Would you... is this based on an existing IP?
No.
Okay.
3.
Is this game playable in flat screen mode?
No. 4.
Because we have 4 no's. This isn't going well. Okay, we're going to go with Scott Jessica's question. He's modified it since last week. Does it have dinosaurs, robots, zombies, dragons, ninjas, or cowboys in the game?
No.
Oh, shit. 5. I got to write all this down. Dinos, robots, zombies, dragon. That's a lot of stuff it doesn't have. Ninjas, cowboys.
Oh, wait. Does it have one?
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. What's up?
Oh, it is all. It is all.
Yeah, does it have any of those in the game? Any of them?
No, I'm gonna say no. I don't think it does. No, but you can come back at me in Game Cats and call me a liar.
I can't wait. Would you consider this a puzzle game at all?
No.
Okay. What are you meowing about, bud? Huh? Do you know that the timer's ticking? Huh? Do you know it's time to distract me? Do you know that?
6.
Okay. Do you operate any vehicles in this game?
No.
Wow.
7.
Are there any rhythm elements in this game?
No.
Damn it.
8.
Mark. We almost thought we had it there. Karina says, "Do you think Tornado's asking a question?" Let me ask her a question. Meow.
No.
No. Okay,
No.
that's a no. I'm sorry.
No.
Let's see. Was this a? Was this an early PSVR 1 title? Let's go with
No.
okay.
9. That's 9.
Early, no. Okay. Chrome Colossus asks, "Is it cartoony?"
Yes.
Okay.
First, yes.
Finally
10.
got a yes.
10.
Okay. It's a cartoony game. Would you call this? Would this fall into a? Is this less of a game and more mess around and do stuff? Like
Can you ask
Vacation
the question?
Sim would be a prime example, or Job Sim, which I know it's not because it's the launch title, but Vacation Sim, like where you just kind of it's more about fucking around than actual game stuff.
Can I propose another question and see if you're happy with this?
Yeah.
Could the question be, are there objectives in this game, or is that not what you mean?
I'm not. Let's move on. Let's move on. I got to figure something else out. Is there full locomotion? Mancunian?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
11.
It's cartoony, and we have full loco.
Full loco.
Full loco. Virtual Strangers. What up, Wes? Is there multiplayer?
No.
No multiplayer. Dude,
12.
Nothing in this game. This game sounds like the worst. Is this a top 25 game? Is this something we ever consider for the?
No.
No. Okay.
13.
Is this a bad game?
No. 14.
Okay, so it's an average game that's cartoony and has full locomotion, no multiplayer, wasn't an early game, doesn't use analog sticks, there's no shooting isn't a main thing. It's not based on an IP, it's no flat screen version, there's no puzzles, or it's not a puzzle game, it's not, you don't control vehicles, there's no dinosaurs, robots, zombies, cowboys, ninjas, or dinosaurs in it.
That's a power question right there.
It really is.
You may as well have a question where you say,
Soft.
is it, and it's 499 VR games.
Does this take place outdoors?
Yes. At times. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then that eliminates Song in the Smoke
15.
and Winds and Leaves, because those could take place exclusively outdoors. That's not the way he answered it. Is it first person?
Yes.
Okay.
16.
Paper Beast is definitely a puzzle game, Chairface, but good guess. Trover has a flat screen version, so that's not it, right, Pop? Shit. It's not based on an IP, so it's not Tarzan. Let's go with Mark's question again. Is it a platformer?
No.
Okay.
17.
Wander is definitely a puzzle game. Damn, I'm just going to ask Austin Tatum's question because I don't fucking know. Is it a visual novel?
No.
That would have fucking clarified everything.
18.
Man, I'm sorry. Everyone that you guys are, everything you guys are suggesting has already been canceled out. I'm sorry. Jeez.
I feel like I'm going to get hated on because no one's guessed it yet in the chat at all.
Dude, I just have to. Time's up. I got to throw in the towel. I'm not. I got nothing.
You got two more questions. Let's just do the 2 more questions.
Nope.
Nope.
I've lost. What is it? Tell us the big reveal. What game was it?
You will find out next week if we hit 300 likes. Oh yeah. No, I'll tell you. It was Hotel R&R.
Huh.
I love that. Huh. Which is okay. No, he was accurate. Hotel R&R.
Yeah, here we go. Here's Hotel R&R. I just got to run down the list here. It wasn't early. That's right. There's no analog support. That's right. There's not a lot of shooting. That's true. It's not based on an IP. It's not a flat screen version. There's not a lot of puzzles. No vehicles. There's not rhythm games. No multiplayer.
It doesn't have robots in it, does it?
I don't know.
The robots was the only thing I was thinking about. Was there a
wouldn't
robot?
have helped me. Yeah.
No.
It's cartoony and there's full locomotion. Man, you guys got to step up your game because you were no help at all. I'm blaming this on the cat. No, this is all my fault.
Hotel R&R is a game that gets better the more you play it. Because at first I'm like, oh, this feels a bit gimmicky when you're in that small room. But as you get into it more, it's like, actually, no, this is really... Yeah. No, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I actually think that it actually there's a bell curve, right? Because
yes,
I think at the very beginning you're like, oh, this is okay, and then as you start unlocking more areas, and then you start unlocking more weapons, you're like, oh my god, I just get to wreak destruction on everything, and this is amazing. But then near the end of the game, the areas get too big. The last couple maps are just way too big, and all the shit's spread out way too much, and so it feels like you can't create these domino effect type things that you want to do, and
that's why I was a bit unsure when you were asking about is it like Job Simulator, and that's why I reframed the question because I understand the whole idea you can just trash the place, but actually this game does make it that there is actually a game structure to it, you have objectives and you have to do so much damage and stuff like that.
Yeah, I could see where you were. I could see where that question was tough to answer.
Do you remember who developed it?
Yeah, this was Wolf and Wood Interactive, the same people who made Exorcist Legion VR, the same people who made Chair and Room Greenwater.
Yeah.
This
I would have had to check. If you'd asked me that question, I would have had to check if they'd done any previous ones. And
I should have asked that early. Yeah.
Yeah, May 28th, 2020.
Nice. Yeah, good game. Good game. Definitely one of those that you pick up on sale and you're like, oh, this is good. I'm really glad I picked this up for $10.
And you gave it 8.3 out of 10.
8.3 out of 10. That's. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think every review I've ever gone back to, I'm like, that's about 0.5 higher than I would give it now.
Right.
Right. Great game. High 7, low 8. Pretty close.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, we're going to get out of here. This has been another long episode of PSVR GamesCast Live. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Listen, we didn't even ask Miles what he's up to this week, but you know what? Go check it out for yourself over on youtube.com/Miles, or just click the link in the description below and go sign up and subscribe to his channel, right?
I will just say, this Wednesday on the live show celebrated one year. It was episode 52, so the 52nd week of doing my live show, and it was really, really good. A lot of Game Cats now tune in. When I first did the show a year ago, I had maybe 3 or 4 people watch each week. Now it's between 26 and 30 people, and it's a 600% increase. And it's always hard to get things going to begin with. So it really means a lot, and I feel really great about doing the show. I love doing this as well. Live streaming is really great, and I've learned a lot from doing it. So just anyone that's tuned into my show already, I just want to say a huge thank you for stopping over. I know it's not the most ideal time for American audiences, and if you haven't tuned in yet and do get a chance, every Wednesday at 9 p.m. UK time, which is 4 p.m. Eastern, and 1 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday.
Thank you to everybody who hung out today. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you to everybody who changed their name to GameCat. Don't worry, we'll give you some shout-outs on Monday. We thank you to everybody who helps this channel out. Sci-Fi GameCat Henry, who gets the timestamps in here. Jay Meow, who makes sure that this thing not only got withoutparole.com up and running, but also make sure that this thing ends up on podcast services of your choice each and every time we do one of these. So thank you very much to all the people who helped this channel run, including our loyal moderators who are doing God's work, not just here, but over on Discord. So click the link in the description below and join our Discord. Thank you to everybody who helped out with 20 questions. Thank you to everybody who donated during the show. And thank you to everybody who participated in the poll and helped and just made the conversation and the show overall so much fun. But of course, thank you all of you who sat back and watched the show and didn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there, and we love you just as much. Let's get out of here, Miles. Happy weekend, everybody.
Have a great weekend, oh. Hit the like button. See you next week.
Swordsman fatalities. I don't know, man. I feel like this is a clickbait as fuck thumbnail. Swordsman fatalities, a little bit misleading, don't you think?
There was no Mortal Kombat in it. But hey, Brian.
What?
I've got a clip to show you.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think we should do a clip of the week now.
Clip of
like
the week.
just saying some shenanigans of Rec Room stuff that I experienced. I've got one from Rec Room. I thought you'd like this. This one will cheer you up.
Yeah, I have not seen this, so let's check this out together.
Yeah, Brian has actually not seen this. I told him not to watch it until now. So he if he's disappointed and he gives a massive sigh, it's real and it's in real time.
All right, let's do this.
My laddie!
Excuse me, everyone. My friend Brian loves coffee. Could everyone just say, hi, Brian?
Hi, Brian.
Yo, what's up, Brian?
What's up, Brian?
Brian. You like coffee, Brian?
What's up, Brian?
Here's coffee.
Cheers, Brian.
What? was what was that? Was that like scripted? Like, did they know you were going to ask that?
No,
Like,
I logged
everybody was holding coffees. What the hell was going on?
Yeah, I logged into the lobby and everyone was drinking coffee, and I was like, okay. And I was like, I was going to cut out me asking him to say it, but I thought, no, let's keep it, because I love that little pause. Because literally, when I said, "Hey, do you want to say hi to Brian?" There's a pause. I'm like, they're literally looking at me, going, "Who the hell's this guy?" And then they all did it. And they're like, "Hey, Brian, do you like coffee?" And yeah, community's awesome.
Too funny. That's awesome, man. All right, man. Let's get out of here. I'll see everybody over on Discord. We love you all. Have a great weekend.
Peace.